The Blue Cliff Record, Case 73, Baso and the 100 Negations. Engo's introduction. In presenting the Dharma, there is neither explanation nor teaching. In listening to the Dharma, there is neither hearing nor attainment. Presenting neither explains nor teaches. What about non-presenting? Listening neither hears nor attains. What about non-listening? Non-presenting and non-listening are worthwhile. You are listening to me now, presenting here. How will you escape this problem? Those who have eyes see the following. Main subject. A monk said to Baso Daishi, independent of the 4 propositions and transcending the 100 negations, tell me plainly the meaning of Bodhidharmas coming from the West. Baso said, today I'm tired and cannot tell you. Ask Shizo about it. The monk asked Shizo, who said, why don't you ask the master? The monk said, he told me to ask you. Shizo said, today I have a headache and cannot tell you about it. Ask Brother Kai, Yakujo Kai. The monk asked Kai, who said, regarding this point, I do not understand. The monk told this to Baso Daishi, who said, Zo's head is white. Kai's head is black. Secho's verse. Zo's head is white. Kai's head is black. It defies understanding. Ba's horses trampled over the world. Even Rinzai wasn't such a thief in broad daylight. Putting aside the 4 propositions, the 100 negations, you can only nod to yourself. Feel free to make any adjustments you need. If you can't hear, come sit next to me. If you can't see, take a nap. Here we are in the glory of autumn. The gold, the bright red, the green starting to turn, leaves fluttering, the zinnias in the garden, It's riotous. It's so exuberant. How about you? Hmm? And it's bittersweet, right? We know soon flowers will die, they'll drop, they'll turn brown. Trees will be bare. And we too. Sesshin is a process of dropping off, letting go, becoming there. When asked by a monk, how will it be when trees wither and leaves fall? Umon answered, Tairo Kintu. Body revealing golden wind. Golden wind Sesshin at Daibosatsu Zendo. Fall anniversary Sesshin at Zen Center of Syracuse, Hoen-ji. This is felt directly. This is revealed through this very body. This cool breeze blowing through our heart. "50 years. One day." Baso. When we are reading this poem, said, sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha. Then asked, how are we doing? So today we are looking at the 73rd case of the Blue Cliff Record. And we heard Engo's introduction. And any explanation I can give you invalidates it completely. Why? When there's an explanation, there is an invitation to what? There's an invitation to there's an invitation to wrap it up, to close it down, right? An invitation to conceptual thinking, yeah? To trying to figure out the meaning. What's the sense here? What's being taught. Let's put it in a box. In the pure presentation of Dharma, there's nothing formulated. Listen to this. This is the pure presentation. And what we just heard was non-hearing. When we think there's something out there to hear, right? We have to comprehend it. We have to understand it. We have to attain it. Then again, putting it in some container that we think will preserve it for later. Listen, completely listen. But with pure hearing, with ears to hear, as the saying goes, there's no idea of gaining something. This is non-listening. So as you are listening now, how will you avoid this idea of something to grab onto, to use, to make sense of the world? How will you escape the problem? Engel is asking us. This problem of attachment to what is being presented, what is being said. When in fact there is only this non-presentation and non-listening. Another way to put it is, can you just allow this breeze to blow through? Oh, no, wait, what did it say there? Oh, I better write it down. It makes no sense to put it that way, but we are doing it all the time. To grab hold, take notes, record. So, koans are like code. They're like code words for nothing. You cannot speak about Buddha Dharma. There's no about Dharma. And in Judaism, it's the same. It's unspeakable. How do you refer to the Holy One? There's a phrase, Ein Sof, and it means nameless, formless, limitless. But as soon as you say God, Buddha, Allah, again, that box appears. You have to open directly. To open the window of your being completely. And what we call koans are nothing but this encounter, this bodily experience, intimately transmitted from mind to mind. In the Diamond Sutra, Buddha says, truth is uncontainable and inexpressible. It neither is nor is it not. And also, in the Diamond Sutra, it says, this is everywhere, without differentiation or degree. But when we explain, when we define, when we try to put it into some kind of measure, we immediately fall into differentiation, the conditional, limited, rational mind. So today we are meeting the great Baso Zenji, one of the giants of the Tang Dynasty. He received transmission from Nangaku Ejo Zenji, who was a disciple of the sixth ancestor, Eno. Baso had some 130 Dharma heirs. They included Kyakujo Eka, today's Seido Chizo, and his son, Mei. And Baso died at around the age of 80 in 788. There's a famous story about when Baso was a young monk. He was so sincere, earnest, dedicated, impassioned, and sitting from morning to night in a cave on Nangaku Mountain near Nangaku Ejo's temple. It's called Hoen-ji, Wisdom Temple. So I'll tell you the story. One day, Nangaku Zenji was out walking, and he saw this young monk, Baso, sitting there in the cave. He asked, "What are you doing?" "Zazen." "What are you trying to accomplish by doing Zazen?" "I'm trying to become a Buddha." Nangaku walked away. He picked up 2 pieces of broken tile, sat down, and began rubbing them together. Baso said, "Roshi, what are you doing?" "I want to make these tiles into mirrors." Baso said, "But you can't make tiles into mirrors by rubbing them together." Nangaku said, "No." Baso said, "No." Nangaku said, "Well, you can't become a Buddha by doing Zazen either." How many of you have found this out? So Baso said, "Well, what should I do then?" Nangaku answered, "Buddha has no fixed form. Trying to become a Buddha by sitting is killing the Buddha. If you attach to the form of Buddha, you can never attain Buddhahood." At that, Baso had an awakening and became Nangaku's disciple. Trying to become a Buddha by sitting is killing the Buddha, Nangaku said. Yet here we are at Sesshin. And what are we doing? Sitting, sitting, sitting. Subhuti, what do you think? Should we get up and leave? No? Are we sitting with some game idea? Thinking, why haven't I gotten better after all these years? Doing the same old, same old, same old, and nothing to show for it. Well, that's a clue, isn't it? What's it for? What's the point? What's the meaning? So if we concoct a form we call Buddha, something we want to become, something we envision that is better than what we think we are, we kill the true Buddha we already are. Trying to get it or having a little glimmer and trying to keep it, trying to hear something we imagine may help, trying to attain. All of this falls into the predicament Engo presents in the introduction. So Nangaku said, if you attach to the form of Buddha, you can never attain Buddhahood. Sitting in order to become a Buddha is attaching to what we think a Buddha is, what we think we might become, what we imagine we should become, what we think. So we have to ask ourselves, who do you think you are? Right here, today, at this moment. Who do you think you are? Thinking this way. Who do you think you are? Going around in circles. Well, I think I'm somebody who's trying to become a Buddha. Well, I hear that I am already a Buddha, but somehow I need to do something about it. The more we do this, the more we push it away. And grab it, but can't hold it. It's beyond anything that our mind can conceive of. Remember, inconceivable. It's gone. Beyond ideas, beyond words, which brings us to the koan. A monk said to Baso Daisho, great teacher, independent of the 4 propositions and transcending the 100 negations, tell me plainly the meaning of Bodhidharma's coming from the West. Baso said, today I am tired and cannot tell you. Ask Chizo about it. A monk asked Chizo, who said, why don't you ask the master? The monk said, he told me to ask you. Chizo said, today I have a headache and cannot tell you about it. Ask Brother Kai. The monk asked Kai, who said, regarding this point, I do not understand. The monk went back to Baso and told him. He said, Zo's head is white. Kai's head is black. So hearing the koan again, now do you understand? That's good. Some of you may remember case 25 of the Mumonkan. Case 25. Kyozan has a dream. In this dream, he's seated in the 3rd seat of honor. A senior monk strikes the board with a gavel and says, today's Teisho will be given by the person in 3rd seat. So Kyozan stands strikes the board and says, the truth of the Mahayana is beyond the four propositions and transcends the 100 negations. Teisho, Teisho. Listen. Non-listening. So, what is it we're being asked to go beyond? What is it we're being asked to transcend? What are the four propositions? Anybody?
Non-existence, existence, neither non-existence nor existence, neither existence nor non-existence.
A little sketchy there.
Existing.
Okay, so we have being, number one, non-being, number two. Both being and non-being, both is number three, and neither being nor non-being is number four. Okay, four propositions. Now, what about the 100 negations? Well, in Indian Mahayana metaphysics, so take each of those four and use four negatives for them. Not, neither not nor not, both not and not. That brings you to 16. And then each of those in the past, present, and the future, that makes 48. And then, as both appeared and not yet appeared, that's 96. And finally, negating the original four, you get 100. Can you imagine somebody actually put this together? So all the possible permutations, you might say, of existence, non-existence, non-existence, etc. Is it helpful? What was Kyozan's commentary on all this? Right? Or yeah, right now, listen to this. So the monk in today's koan says to Baso, beyond all this, tell me plainly, heart to heart, mind to mind, tell me, what is the meaning of Bodhidharma coming from the West? Now, as you probably know, this question is raised in many koans. And it's something of a stock phrase like, what is Buddha? What is the essence of Buddhism? And it represents the questioner's deep dilemma. Another way of saying it is, does a dog have Mother Nature? So we might translate it for ourselves. something like, what is the meaning of my life? Or why am I here? Maybe second day of session, you may have a very deep feeling about this. Why am I here? And do I have to stay here? You might be asking, how should I live in this Saha world that is filled with such suffering? What can I do? And you might sincerely ask, please help me find some meaning for my life. What can I learn from you? What can I learn from Bodhidharma? Bodhidharma, the first ancestor of Zen, at a very advanced age, some say 120, some say 150 years old, made a perilous 3-year journey by ship from India to China early in the 6th century, through storms and tempestuous seas, through becalmed days of intense heat, through illness and exhaustion. Here you all are. What was your past life that brought you here? Perhaps you too experienced such things and kept going and persisted. Why did Bodhidharma persist? As we know, the teachings of Buddhism had already gone to China. But as we also may remember, the meeting of Bodhidharma with the Emperor Wu didn't go so well. It was based on, well, Emperor Wu's understanding of Buddhism, based on poring over the propositions, the permutations of assertion and denial, scholarly study, self-consciously meritorious deeds. It's like they're every day. And you all know the verse that is ascribed to Bodhidharma. A special transmission outside the scriptures, not dependent on words and phrases, directly pointing to the human heart mind, seeing into your nature and awakening. This the emperor was not ready. This revolutionary teaching came to China with Bodhidharma. And it's really important not to misunderstand the intent here. It's not that you shouldn't study, but that you shouldn't take someone else's understanding for your own. You know, we cannot live in a gloss. You know what a gloss is? Somebody? What's a gloss? Yeah, there are all those books about, you know, a beginner, whatever they call those books. I forgot their names. Cliff notes. Yeah. Huh?
Subject for dummies.
Yeah. Buddhism for dummies. Actually, probably we get a lot more from that. But, you know, this is someone else's understanding. You have this tendency, I think, to seek it. And Hakuin Zenji says, seek it far away. That means go to somebody else's understanding and just take what you can get. And that's necessarily missing. It's not your own. You have to find out for yourself. And you can't be dependent on words and phrases. There's a Thai forest monk named Ajahn Chah. I really love what he says about this. I've read this a number of times. He said, I took the straightforward teachings the Buddha gave and simply began to study my own mind. If you sit in meditation and want it to be this way or that, you had better stop right there. Very often, I think we are in Zazen thinking, is this good? Is this the right way? Am I doing it correctly? Shouldn't it feel better? Shouldn't I have a little glow here or there? Stop right there, he says. Do not bring ideals or expectations to your practice. Can you avoid such a thing? Isn't this what Mu is all about? About, of course, you know, words. Mu. When you shout Mu, when you breathe Mu, when Mu breathes you, no ideals, no expectations. Therefore, you can be shocked. Therefore, you can awaken. You haven't cluttered it. But getting back to Ajahn Chah, take your studies, your opinions, and store them away. Here's a good place for them. Huh? Where would you like to store them?
In the trash.
Right in the trash can. And it's rim full. And then he says, you must go beyond all words, all symbols, all plans for your practice. Next. Then you can see for yourself the truth arising right here. If you do not turn inward, you will never know reality. I took the first few years of formal Dharma text study. And when I had the opportunity, I went to hear various scholars and masters teach until such study became more of a hindrance than help. When you feel confident in your own turning inward, then any words you hear from others will be understood as a hindrance, and you will be able to store them in that trash can. And you may think, well, no, I don't want to do that because they're so valuable. Now, again, you're ascribing something to them, right? Oh, this is valuable. Lock and key. Not much help. So he says, I did not know how to listen to their sermons because I had not looked within. He says, just give up. Just let go. Merely thinking about practice is like pouncing on the shadow and missing the substance. Practice in this way. Just give up. Just let go. And the rest will follow. Such a wonderful non-teaching from Ajahn Chah. Give up. Let go. In the Diamond Sutra, so beautifully read this morning, we heard this Dharma is like a raft. The Buddha teaching must be relinquished. How much more so misteaching? You have to find out what's between the lines. What do these verbal pointers reveal? Teisho, Tai's body, reveal his blood. A certain turn of phrase, an expression. Something opens. Have to become non-listening. Can't seek explanation. It's not an analytical endeavor. We can enter through poetry, through the verbal and non-verbal exchanges in koans, through those very dense sutras and scriptures themselves. I always hear Shinge Roshi's words. It's worthy to struggle. Don't seek the gloss. You have to steep yourselves in them. Steep yourself. And it's huge. You certainly can't speed read your way through. And as Ajahn Chah said, you can't just think about it. Pouncing on the shadow and missing the substance. What is it to read deeply? First of all, we really need to look at the fact that most of us are addicted to multitasking. The mind is constantly under assault. So, of course, distraction of every sort prevents complete immersion in this. So clear the room. Read a few lines for the non-reading mind. Let it wash through. When Jushin was asked, what is the meaning of Bodhidharma's coming from the West? He answered, the oak tree in the garden. He answered, fully, intimately, non-propositions, direct, pointing, right here. Bodhidharma is alive in this autumn rain. Or take another well-known koan, case 5 of the Mumonkan. Master Kyogen said, there is a man up a tree, hanging from a branch with his mouth. His hands cannot grasp a bough. His feet cannot reach a limb. Someone appears under the tree and asks him, what is the meaning of Bodhidharma's coming from the West? If he does not answer, he fails to respond to the questioner. If he does answer, he will lose his life. What would you do in such a situation? This man of a tree, the only part of his body that is keeping him from falling from the tree to his death is his mouth, the purveyor of words and phrases, concepts and formulations. So how do you respond? can you say anything about it? Will you open your mouth and hurl yourself away? Sounds impressive. But can words and phrases ever be a true response? Can a painted rice cake assuage hunger? A person asking about the meaning of Bodhidharmas coming from the West isn't looking for a history lesson or an explanation. Each of us has come from somewhere, right? Why? Why? What is the meaning of our rare human birth? What about this great matter of life, death? You may remember when you were a child and you first realized that pets die, grandparents die, even children die, that even yourself one day would die. And what then? Do you remember being struck that way? It's what brings us to this practice. As Gauguin wrote on one of his huge paintings that he did in Tahiti, where do we come from? Who are we? Where do we go? Such burning questions. How would bring us here? We have to experience Bodhidharma in the palace of our inner self, as Nyogen Senzaki put it. And that self has no intention, no meaning, no substance, no formula, no agenda whatsoever. And indeed, to give one more example, a monk asked Rinzai, what was Bodhidharma's intention in coming from the West? Oh, what did Rinzai say? Intention? If he had any intention, he couldn't even have saved himself. So this monk asked Baso, independent of the 4 propositions and transcending the 100 negations, Tell me plainly the meaning of Bodhidharmas coming from the West. He knows enough to ask this, to know, throw these away, cutting through it all. Tell me plainly. And what happens? Baso answers plainly, right? So casually. Oh, I'm too tired. Ask Chizo. He steps aside. It's a great jiu-jitsu move, right? Now, perfect example of non-presenting, non-teaching. And the monk, he doesn't even know he's falling. Stumbles on by and goes to Chizo, who says, ask the teacher. Here we have the circle of the way. Back to the source. But the monk doesn't get it. What source? And he says, but he said to ask you. And Chizo says, what? I've got a headache. Again, very plain, very casual. Oh, nothing special. Nothing Buddhist about that, right? So he sends him to ask Yakujo Kai. And the monk goes in all ignorance to him. And his response is so direct. I really don't know. There's no hook, no Velcro. The rug is pulled out completely. There's nowhere to stand. The pure no knowing, right? What did the Emperor Wu get from Bodhidharma? Vast emptiness, nothing holy. Who the hell are you? No knowing. So maybe you may feel, the monk certainly must have felt, that Baso was passing the buck. And his two disciples passing it along too. But what's really going on here? The refusal, right? The refusal to allow an iota of dependency. Depriving students of all preconceived notions, not by engaging in discourse, but just plain, ordinary language. Dharma combat at its subtlest. Sometimes I have a headache. I don't know. No shout, no push, no shove, no stick. And yet, the monk has fallen on his face. Huh? What happened? How did I get down here in the mud? Threefold confusion. So he goes back to Baso. And he tells him what happened. And Baso says, Chizo's head is white. Yakujo's is black. This is plain fact. Bare and simple. Here it is. Each is uniquely alive in the sameness of non-preaching, non-presenting, non-explaining. And you may recall what Baso told layman Tan. When you swallow all the water in the West River in one gulp, then I'll explain it to you. So how about here today? Here in Syracuse. Thursday, we had a downpour. Yesterday, the bright sun. Now this subtle silvery light and the strong breezes. Maple trees, red. Walnut trees with gold. And Secho's verse simply repeats, Zo's head is white, Kai's head is black. It defies understanding. Each as it is. No way to interpret. Black, white, not a description. Understanding? What are you talking about? Then he says, Ba's horses trampled over the world, Baso. And Secho is referring to what the sixth ancestor told Baso's teacher, Man-gyaku. He said, in the future, you will produce a cult who will trample everyone on earth to death. Next line of the verse, even Rinzai wasn't such a thief in broad daylight. This is a reference to what Seppo said of Rinzai. He called him a thief in broad daylight in admiration of true person, no rank. Take everything away. But Secho is saying, wow, so even goes further than Rinzai. He deprived students so thoroughly. Maybe you don't want to be deprived, right? This is a problem. We all have this problem. We don't want to be deprived. So this is what gets in the way. Last night and tonight, Teidai Dembo, our lineage. Baso doitsu zenju, to hyaku doi kai zenju, to obaku kyun zenju, inzai igen zenju. We great teachers taking it all away. And the verse ends, putting aside the 4 propositions, the 100 negations, you can only nod to yourself. Putting everything aside. Everything is gone. Just this being in tune with what is revealed to you. Nothing in away. Wind blows. The trees. Just nod to ourselves.